Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video, let's put things together and try to make a very primitive video game, okay? So it's going to be extremely primitive. It's not even going to be particularly fun or functional, or so really get your hopes down, your expectations down right now, okay? So we're just going to go over the general concepts of it. And if you wanted to make some of your own video games, you should be able to use these concepts to make the video games and make them much better than I'm making them now, okay? So I changed a few things here. I just typed everything here. For me personally, typing is important because as somebody who doesn't program much, it's just one of those things I do on my spare time when I have it. I frequently, when there's a var, I frequently think, what the heck is this object? What are we doing right here? Because it's not second nature to me. So me personally, I always like to type things just so I can say, oh, that's exactly what type of object that is. Okay, so it's, again, a personal thing. If you're a lot more experienced, you probably don't care, but again, everybody's different. So what we are going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make this Firefox right here, okay? And I'm going to drop it down, and when it drops down, I'm going to click on the button anywhere to keep it up. And as long as I can keep it up, I'm going to survive. As soon as it goes down and hits one of these columns, then there's going to be a pop-up saying you lose. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Well, we've done most of the stuff already, right? So we are getting the Firefox, we're getting the tween, and we're going to basically drop it down, tween, fire, animate, ease into cubic. So it's going to go and it's going to accelerate as it goes down. But if I hit stage.onmouseclick.listen, I could say, I just did this on my own. I can basically get the thing to fly up, and this time here I'm going to say by -400. So it's going to go up -400, and then it's going to fall back down again with the tween, fire, animate to, and it's going to fall down to the bottom again, okay? So, but as I lift it up, it's going to slowly go down again rather than accelerating quickly, all right? And I think this is a duplicate. I don't know why I actually have that there. Shouldn't be necessary, all right? So let's do that. But how do I know when it actually falls down and touches one of these things? That's the tricky part. So what I'm going to do here is when I open up this timer and I'm going to instantiate the column, what I'm going to say is open up at the same time in these brackets. As soon as I open up, create the object column, I'm going to open up a stream, column.sprite.onEnterFrame. Okay, so in other words, I'm using this object and I'm using this member, the sprite member right here, dot on enter frame or on render, right? Dot listen, and then I'm going to say if column dot sprite is less than. The problem here is you can't always use equal. The reason why behind that is because where the pixels are, that's a double. So you have to get the exact double if you're going to have equal. These are not integers. So instead, you probably want to do a less than and greater than. All right. So what I'm going to say is if there's an object coming across and the sprite Firefox itself intersects. So here's the Firefox. It comes down and here's the rectangle. If it comes down inside it hits there itself, or if it comes from the side. Okay. So here's the column. If it comes from the side, when the value of this object that moves across is going to be less than the Firefox. So in other words, when there's a little bit of overlap right inside of there, and when the X, it comes down and there's a little bit of overlap here, so it's less than the sprite Firefox Y, okay? So column sprite Y right here is less than sprite Firefox Y, so there's a little bit of overlap in between there, then trigger your event, and it's going to say you lose, okay? So that's going to be the game. Nice and simple. Let's see what we could do. Okay, it's falling. Want to stay up. Step up. So, hey, I'm doing pretty well, okay? Whoops. I lost. Now, notice that the game is not very advanced. Let's try this again. Better get up. And it triggers again. But notice that it triggers the you lose once it fell in between here. Why is that? Well, because it is still, it's getting underneath here itself. The first time it did not, right? It fell underneath here and it was fine. But as soon as the first one crossed, then anytime the x-axis, this thing is already passed right inside of here, it's going to trigger it, right? Even though it's right here, it passed and it removed it, but it's still triggering it, the event itself. And when it gets past the y-axis also, right? So it goes past right inside here, there's overlap, therefore it's going to trigger the event. So to make it more complicated and more, let me see, playable, I should say, we do have to be careful about that. So it would probably be something like, if this is less than sprite Firefox X and this minus the width of this is equal to, is less than this minus the width of this. So in other words, right, so we have to make sure that it's a full object. It's not just 1 point and 1 point. So that's what we should have done itself, made this a lot more specific, made sure that it was just this particular area and just this particular area. And I think we know how to do that already, right? So it's just going to take a lot more code. It's subtracting the image borders themselves out and the image borders themselves out here so that when they truly overlap, and if your object image falls right in here, and then you flap your way back up here, that you won't actually trigger the event and say you lose. All right, so this is a very primitive video game, obviously. You don't keep score, you're not saving anything, you're not doing anything like that. I gotta be honest, it's not particularly fun even, but it's the whole idea in and of itself. So one more time. And then as soon as the X was down below, so as soon as the Y triggers it, it goes right through there, okay? So that's, I guess, what we learned, which is not very much, and it's a lot. So, because, even a month ago or something like that, I had no idea how to actually make something like this. So I think that's pretty cool. Play around with it. I'm sure you can make a lot more advanced games than this, though, all right? Thank you.